It all kicked off with a late-night call to cult AM radio show, Coast to Coast, from a certain Mel Waters in 1997. Host Art Bell was always keen to hear from listeners with tales of the weird and the paranormal, and Waters' bizarre story included a dog being raised from the dead, secret army bases, and UFOs in the countryside of Washington State. This Mel Waters described an extraordinary geological phenomenon, a hole in the ground that extended to a depth of 80,000 feet. That's deep indeed, more than 15 miles deep, or the length of around 222 football fields. As a result, Waters already had Bell's attention, and his story just got wilder. So how many holes around the world are as deep as 80,000 feet? The answer is none. The deepest known mine shaft across the entire planet is the Mapaneng gold mine in South Africa. That only descends to 13,000 feet. The Russians drilled a hole, the Kola Super Deep Borehole, back in 1989 to a depth of 40,000 feet, the deepest man-made hole ever made, although it has a diameter of just 9 inches. And the best that Mother Nature can come up with is the Krubera Cave in the Republic of Abkhazia, a disputed territory that was formerly part of the Soviet Union. That's a puny 7,200 feet deep, give or take a few feet. Hardly a competitor for Mel's Hole then. The only other natural phenomenon on Earth that could rival Waters' Hole is the Mariana Trench in the Western Pacific, the deepest place in any ocean on the planet. But even that only extends down to 36,201 feet. Anyway, it's an ocean valley, not a hole set on dry land, so it doesn't really count. It was little wonder then that Art Bell's interest was piqued by a hole in the ground that was 80,000 feet deep, a unique manifestation in anybody's book. So he kept Waters on the phone and eventually spoke to him on further occasions about this amazing hole. According to Waters, it was on land that he had once owned in Kittitas County, Washington, about 9 miles from the city of Ellensburg, near a feature called the Manistash Ridge. But mysterious federal agents had forced him to lease the land to the government, and with the proceeds of the deal, he'd subsequently moved to Australia. Exactly why the government was so keen to lease this piece of land in the rural depths of Kittitas County seems never to have been clearly explained to Waters. He did, however, tell Bell that there had been some talk of the land having been the site of a plane crash. This seems a rather flimsy pretext for government expropriation of property, but then this story is full of unexplained facts. And some of the facts that Waters revealed to Bell during his rambling telephone conversations stretched credibility to the limit, and some may think well beyond that point. You might be wondering how we know that the hole, which came to be referred to as Mel's Hole, was 80,000 feet deep. In fact, we have Mel himself to thank for that crumb of knowledge, and that measurement is actually a minimum depth of the hole. Waters had decided to find out just how deep the hole was. He consequently unspooled 80,000 feet of weighted fish line down the hole without actually reaching the bottom. So who knows how deep the hole was, or indeed is. Waters claimed that the hole was in fact infinitely deep. Moreover, there were other extraordinary tales regarding the hole. One such story was about a dog. A neighbor of Waters had apparently thrown his dead dog down the hole. Whether or not this dead pet disposal method was commonplace in that part of Washington State, we don't know. But this uncooperative canine didn't stay dead, apparently. Not long after he'd tossed the dog, its erstwhile owner saw the very same animal accompanying a hunter. Apparently, the dog would not approach its original owner. Hardly a surprise in the light of the disrespectful way that the man had recently treated the animal. But bringing deceased dogs back to the land of the living was just one of the extraordinary properties that this hole had. An unnamed witness had reportedly told Waters that he'd seen a black beam emanating from the hole. What this beam might have been remains a mystery. Others had told Waters that if you switched on a radio near the hole, you would actually receive programs that had been broadcast in the past. Moreover, it wasn't only Waters who went public with accounts of this wondrous hole. Another Kittitas County character had tales to tell. He was, and remains, the colorful red elk, also known as Gerald R. Osborne. According to a bio published on the Coast to Coast website, red elk is a self-described half-breed Native American white of both the Blackfeet and Shoshone nations, as well as part Irish and French. He's a member of the He's a member of the Hyoka Society, a contrarian group of Native Americans who do not follow the normal path of mankind. Intriguing. And speaking in a feature on Mel's Hole broadcast by Seattle's Como TV in 2012, Red Elk said that his father had shown him the hole in 1961. Red Elk recalled his father's words. He said, "This is an endless hole." Red Elk has also claimed that there's a secret government base at the site and that aliens visit during the summer solstice. But when he led an expedition of 30 people to see the hole, he couldn't find it, surprisingly. Local journalists were naturally interested in the amazing story of Mel's Hole. When they ran checks, however, they couldn't find mention of Mel Waters anywhere in records about property ownership or anything else in Kittitas County. Yet another mysterious aspect of this puzzling story. But perhaps an actual geologist could throw some light on Mel's Hole. Step forward Jack Powell of the Washington Department of Natural Resources. He's been exploring the geology of Kittitas County for 30 years and reckoned that he'd identified the hole near Ellensburg that had become Mel's Hole. It's an old gold mine that might be as deep as 90 feet today, although that figure could have been 300 feet back when it was active. I suppose this Mel Waters used the real hole as kind of an inspiration for making up his mysterious one on Manistash Ridge, Powell told the Daily Record in 2012. And he went on to explain that an 80,000-foot hole was a physical impossibility, as it would collapse due to the high pressure and temperatures that far down in the earth. So the inescapable conclusion, unfortunately, is that Mel's Hole should be renamed Mel's Hoax.